Dare to do an evil deed, and you will be rewarded. I'm Lance Ash, and this is Bad Business. Okay, we're doing this properly on the way home on my last night of the week. Last night because I've decided I'm gonna call in tonight. And I already have the next day off for annual leave. I've had a belly full of the whole thing. So, last week when I did the first episode of this new show, I forgot I was supposed to change things up and record this on the way home on the last day of the week. And anyway, because I want the change to be more than just name only. So I think being dead tired will provide a different mentality. Oh, I'm trying to untie my shoes while driving. I was so busy up until the last second. God damn it. Fuck. Yeah, that's right. Swing back into this fucking lane, you goddamn piece of shit. U.S. mail truck. We live to serve. What a piece of dirt. Okay, I am like 2 pages away from finishing reading Dune. I don't know when I first read it. As a teenager, I'm sure. I remember going to see the damn movie, the David Lynch version. There was this girl I was seeing at school. I don't know if we were dating yet or not, maybe. But anyway, at the end of the movie, it starts raining. You see it raining, as if it's some magical symbol. But that doesn't happen in the book. But I remember this girl telling me that doesn't happen in the book. I'm sure she was told that. I'm sure she didn't read it. She wasn't the kind of person that would sully her mind with science fiction. Oh my God, it's so hot in here. The climate control in the Prius is not good. You're either burning up or you're freezing. There is no in between. There is no Dana, only Zool. You know, I liked Bill Murray back in those days, but there were people who could see through his charm even back then. Strange, isn't it? Strange how the actor is never far from the role. It's a two-way street, I think, because you can get confused by the role. I mean, like the way all those people mistook Sean Connery for Bond in the early years, to the point where he got sick of it. But I mean, I'm getting at, you know, like Bill Murray, he's supposed to be this happy, no, not happy, this charming, don't give a shit person. But if you take a closer look at his performance, you can see who he really is. I don't know. Oh, Lord. Frick, my shoelaces pulled out of my shoe. Yeah, I recorded this earlier this week and wasn't satisfied. I'm not satisfied with this, to be perfectly honest with you. But the thing is, I feel like I'm riding on the shoulders of destiny, and that things are happening, things are coming together. So I decided it was time for a change, and so I decided that this is the change that I was going to effect, and I'm going to go with it, no matter what. It'll come together in time. You know, the last program I was doing, that was going to be the one I did forever. But the thing is, you know, maybe I should just go back to doing that. I don't know. Hesitation will kill you. Second thoughts will deny you your identity. What the hell is that over there? Some kind of store. I can't tell what store it is. Oh, it's a hospital. Oh, okay. Same thing. Hospital is a kind of store these days. They sell you your life back to you. Well, what am I going to do? You know, I really hate that job. I really hate it. I don't want to do it. What am I going to say? Topics, themes, subjects. I can't just let's sit here in silence. I don't know. What's the point? If this show is going to be exactly the same as the old show, then what's the fucking point? What's the point? I want to say something of substance, but I can't read it. I'm driving. You understand? Mr. Goodwrench. In Athens, I guess every college town has its local free paper. And in Athens, the local free paper is the Flagpole. And, it's like a announcement sheet for local art shows and events and concerts and stuff. And it has, as do all of these papers, essentially, it has a left-wing bent. I glanced through an editorial in the most recent issue. It was about how several years ago the Republican Party decided that they were going to destroy Democrats' chances of getting elected to statewide office. I guess nationwide office too. But anyway, so they gerrymandered the state. Athens used to be in its own district, but they decided to screw that. I think they split Athens in two, and they made part of a larger Republican district. Anyway, the editorial was making the point that along with the destruction of the city's representation in the state legislature, it also I forget what verb I used, but coincided with the absorption or the invasion of Atlanta into Athens, and in this person's opinion, destroyed Athens' unique culture. And the guy who wrote it is I think he's the owner of the Flagpole, one of the founders, and long time Athens resident. One of the old school. I know the word townie means different things or different places, but back in the 80s, late 70s, 80s. In Athens, townie meant sort of beatnik, hippie, artsy person that was either directly affiliated with the university or on the fringes. Definitely part of the art scene in Athens. And this guy is like part of that old school. See, I'm gonna have to turn my defrost on now, even though I'm hot, but the windows are fogging up. Oh. There's all this build-up in Dune until the last climactic part, where Paul defeats all of his enemies and becomes master of the universe and all this shit. But it doesn't really earn that. I mean, it earns it by way of hundreds of pages of boring crap and pseudo medieval talk. I dare not speak of it, my lady. I have earned nothing but thy wrath. Slay me here that I may die unforgiven in thy boot print. You know, it's just a bunch of crap. And then Paul beats the shit out of everybody and cows everybody with his magic words. And it's just, I don't know. I have this lukewarm dedication, determination to read the whole series. I just don't know. I mean, couldn't I spend my time better doing something else? When I decided, it was 12 years ago now, I decided to start studying German seriously. And when I did that, I had been in the middle of reading all of Dickens, so I had to put that aside. I mean, wouldn't I be better off returning to Dickens, reading all that, and continuing this? My mind does work differently when I'm tired. A little more loopy. Oh, God, I'm so beaten down. Something odd happened over the course of the last week. I was bored by George Rockwell Schmidt's two most recent videos. One was part of the George Complains series, and it was about the news, and I just thought it was inconsequential. First time I felt that way about one of his videos. And the other was the most recent Sans Hosen, which I listened to about, it's an hour and 20 minutes, and I listened to about 25 minutes of it, and I just didn't give a shit. And the reason for that was because, see, normally they have a topic, but they'll stray into other areas and talk, about different things, and just let the conversation roam where it will. But they seem determined to talk about this film. And the film is boring, and their discussion of it is uninteresting, and if that's all they're going to do, I don't know how I'm going to make myself listen to the rest of it. That's the first time that's ever happened. I don't know. Oh, God. He's one of my he is probably the key influence on my decision to start doing my own YouTube channel. And I guess it was inevitable that something happened. Something happened. I thought what would happen would be that he would be taken into the bosom of the high and mighty, and he'd start having celebrities on the show, and he'd start being, his name would be dropped in elevated conversations, and I didn't realize it would become that he'd just sort of lose his mojo. He really is starting to move more into this journalistic phase. And it's all right. I really don't know what his deal is. The Last Mystery Man. Oh, God. Bathroom ceiling is leaking again. I gotta get up on the roof again and hope that this time it will stay fixed. That's another reason I'm calling in tonight, because I got so much stuff I want to do this weekend. God, I'm sick of it all. Sick of it all. Just sit here and listen to my homemade rhythm track and the sound of the road. Well, I think there's got to be something better than this. If this is as good as it gets, I might as well just stop doing these videos altogether. I was talking to this woman at work last week, and she was like, well, if I had that long of a commute, I would just listen to music or talk on the phone. Well, I have no one to talk to on the phone, and I already do listen to music, but number one, I get sick of it after a while. And number two, I don't think asking, basically you got 10 commutes per week. 5 days a week, once to work, once back. That's 2 times a day. I don't think asking that one of those be devoted to recording something. And it's just part of one of those trips. Recording something of value, something that would provide something to someone somewhere by them listening to it, by he or she listening to it. I forget what I've said. I've done test versions of this so many times. Forget what I said when. Speaking of being sick of music, I think it's one of the reasons I'm getting into techno lately. It's totally alien, and it's not the same old thing. A lot of the time, music can be really, really good. Some band can really have it together, and they do it right, but then the lyrics are stupid. And it just ruins it. It's like Whitesnake's big album, Whitesnake '87, the self-titled album. That album is so meticulously arranged and produced. Every single drum part is placed exactly so. Every note, every instrument makes is perfectly timed and placed and textured, and his vocals are just absolutely spot on. But the lyrics are just stupid. I don't mind if they want to ape Zeppelin, if they want to ape Robert Plant. I don't care. Okay. There are plenty of bands that aped the Beatles and Cheap Trick and Black Sabbath, and most people don't bitch about it. I think one of the things about Zeppelin is everybody feels like Zeppelin just left us too soon, and they left us with too little material. And it's not like the Beatles, where they broke up acrimoniously and they spent 10 years putting out just weird shit. It's, you know, on their own, and then Lennon dies and nothing can be done. Zeppelin broke up because one of the guys died, and you can say, oh, well, he was intrinsic to the sound and they could never replace that. Well, bullshit. And everybody feels like Zeppelin could have done something, you know. I just think Robert Plant had a belly full of Jimmy Page, and that was it. His solo career took off, and he figured, to hell with this. And Page has done nothing of any value. His solo album, Outrider is a piece of shit. I think he really should have kept going with the Firm, to be honest. They should have had a definite lineup. This is the drummer, this is the bass player, and that's who we're sticking with. And he and Paul Rodgers should have. I mean, the Firm's first record is meh. The second one's really bad. They should have kept going. Page should have cleaned up his act. And they should have done a really killer third record. It's funny how much the Firm's first record, the album cover, is so reminiscent of the first Bad Company record. And the Firm's second record, their cover is very reminiscent of Bad Company's album Desolation Angels. And it's just that graphic, the way it looks. Something about the Desolation Angels album cover also looks like Presence by Led Zeppelin. Oh, is that the end of it? Oh, you didn't do it right. You're supposed to do the second. Oh, no, fuck it, never mind.